Good morning. Today I'm going to do some leg day stuff. Start out with doing some stretches also. Um, there's two kinds of stretches. When most people think of stretches, I was always doing the stretches that I knew to do, which was like sitting in place and doing stuff like this, where you're trying to stretch out, and it depends on your mobility. Like I'm not a very bendable guy. I'm trying to work on that actually. Doing stuff like this. This is not what you want to do. I was showing you to give you an example of what not to do. These are called uh, static movements. That's the ones where if you think of it like just sitting in place and pulling on something, you use those at the end of the workout, and that that stretches the muscles that have been overused during the workout. Before a workout, you need to do things like they're called dynamic movements, dynamic stretches. Those are things where it's movement, like marching in place, get your knees and everything ready. If you feel like you're really energetic and you want to kind of run into place, but whatever it is, you get some movement going. One of them I do is you put your hand on your hips and you gotta roll around. As they say, that gets that synovial fluid. That's the that's the liquid that gets in between the joints. It gets that stuff moving. To get the hamstrings and things really moving, you'll see me doing this. And it doesn't matter what the height is that you're flexible with. Just don't kick so high that if you're really stiff, and I'm pretty stiff, if you kick too high, you'll kick your other leg out from under you, and that's not cool. Just whatever height you think you can do, put your hand at that and try to kick towards your hand. A comfortable way of doing it is literally walking and kicking. That gets you limbered up, gets stuff moving. Whatever gets everything ready, it is better, especially again, I always work out in the morning. So obviously nothing is really warmed up. And you don't want to get to moving too heavy a weight before you've warmed up a larger muscle group, because that's when you'll tear something, and not in a good way. One of the first workouts I'll start with is one that you can increase your weight, and it don't take a whole lot. You having those 10-pound and 15-pound dumbbells will work out very nicely. You can start out with absolutely no weight. Put your feet at whatever position is comfortable, and you're doing squats while standing. There's a few things to know about this. When you start moving, if it feels weird, try to change your feet position. Maybe you some people, their feet are turned very square. For me, it's more comfortable when they're turned out. And my shoulder width, they're a little more than shoulder width. And when you go down, it is good practice to bring your hands in when going down and bring them out as you go up. You'll have a tendency to want to go the opposite way, like you're trying to jump up or something. Do it this way. Bring your hands together when you go down. That helps to remind you to keep your chest and your head up by bringing your hands in like this. You don't want to be leaning forward like that. That's working. That'll make you fall, and it's working the wrong body parts. Literally, you get to focus on the muscle groups that you want by bringing your hands in and going out. Once you get warmed up later, all you do is take those dumbbells. You said start with your 10s, put them in here, and hold them. If you want, you can keep them held right here. A lot of people will use a kettlebell or dumbbells and just hold it like this. That's the important part, is keeping your head back. And you don't add a lot of weight to something like this. And before very long, you'll start really feeling it. I'm going to still start the morning out with showing you a few of the things that you might can still do at home without going to the gym. on days that it's not possible, or even if you just want to throw these things in as an in-between workout stuff. Find yourself something that you can step up on. I just have these pads. It doesn't matter if it's even a board or whatever it is. I use these pads, and it's for doing calf raises, and you don't have to have heavy weight for this if you do higher reps. Later, I will be doing it with heavier weight. This morning, I grabbed the 15s, just like you have, so that I could show you a few things you could do with the weight you have at your house. You put your heels on the ground and your toes up here. You just stand there and you go up and down. That full range of motion, you get a lot more out of it than if you're just standing on the ground back here doing it, because then you can only come down to a flat plateau. If you put your toes up here, you'll be able to go up and go down a little deeper. Doing that will give you good calf stuff. Later on, like I said, I'll show you some of the workouts with the gym stuff to do those same things, but these are very good to warm up, especially even if you're at the gym and you're fixing to do stuff. These are a good warm up, but they're also a true workout. Once you're getting a little more warmed up, you can go to some of the slightly more advanced stuff. You need something to put your other foot on. Just take a bench or a box. It could be a couch in the living room, something, and just put your other leg back here. Give yourself some distance, and then you're just going to basically do a squat on the one leg. If at first, don't add the weight, but you can add some weight. I use these 15s again since you said you had them. You want to go all the way down, and I didn't go out far enough, so I should have showed you. But what you want when you go all the way down is that this is at a 90. Falling over because I'm trying to show you. This is about at a 90, and this will still be up. Like that. So this is just for balance. This leg is doing all the work. And then if you reverse it, again, this leg is doing all the work. You're not really straining with this one. This one is just to keep you from falling over. You want to get to where you're at least doing about a 90 right here. And then back up. Something like that. I'll warm up with a few different weights, and once you get up to what's comfortable, and for you that would be the 15, since that's the maximum you got right now anyway. Do what burns, and then just do one or two more. Really, it's probably going to be around the, if you're not used to that workout, it won't take very many at all before it starts to burn. If you're used to using your legs a lot, maybe that will be pretty easy. I know you got some serious calves, so that calf stuff will probably be super easy for you. All the gyms have setups something like this. So it's got the bars that stick out, and then places that you can put some type of a different, it don't always look exactly like this, but of course anything that looks sort of like this, and I'll show you. Right now I'm just warming up with just 245s on there. This is something that you'll need to find your weight that you're comfortable with, but all you do is you set it up to where that bar, I'll walk over there and show you. Set it up to where this bar is lower than when you're standing here. So if you're standing with your back and everything, you don't quite reach it, you have to bend over to grab it. So I'm back to doing more calf stuff. And what you're doing is, this is your safety net and where you're resting everything at. You can do front grips, you can reverse one and reverse it back. Usually you find it a lot easier to keep your grip this way. That way, I can't really explain why that's easier, and to alternate it, the next time I'll just grab it like this, but put your toes on something that's inclined, and then stand up straight with it. Keep your back and your shoulders back, and all you're doing is the calf raises again. Now, at the same time, the more you increase the weight on this barbell, the more your grip will be the thing to fail before your calves do. I've worked on grip strength a lot, but there's several tricks to keeping this up if you feel like your grip strength is failing. There's straps that are the straps will keep your hands from failing. And I can show you how to use those if you need to also, because they're an easy, cheap thing to pick up if you need it, and all the gyms generally have them. But this is something for when you're at the gym, that you can always take the barbell, put you some weight on, go over on one of these, and get your calves warmed up. This is a standard piece of equipment that all gyms have, and they have multiple versions of them. This is a cheaper one that you can afford at home, and it rotates from this style, where you use this, and it's a free weight design, so you can add and subtract weights that way, and then you're just pulling them down. And you want to do something, of course, warm up with a really light weight, but get to a weight where you feel like you can only do 10 to 15. So just shoot for 12, and it should be a weight where 6 or 7 is okay. And by the time you're getting to 8 and 9, you're like, ooh, I feel that. Eventually, once you're used to using these pieces of equipment, not the first week or two, but after maybe week 3 or 4 of going down there, that's when you warm up 1 or 2 sets doing that style, and then you come over here and you'll slap an extra couple plates on there to where you can only do maybe 3 or 4 reps, and it might look ugly, but that's when you really tear and build muscle. Right now, I just want you to make sure you safely work the machine and your muscles remember how to operate. It's literally called muscle memory, because when I start to do this, my brain remembers what muscle to engage to do it. I wanted to show you me adjusting this, because at the gym, there'll be a few different adjustments for sure for trying to change how you operate. Like at Hometown, I think they've got a free weight one, which will have basically this, but it'll just have weight plates here instead of on the arm. And they also have them that has where you're sitting and you've got the actual machine where you're putting the pin and the different plates over here. You'll need to adjust. If it has an adjustment, you'll adjust this back until your knees are right against the back. If you're a shorter person, then this would need to be farther up here because of the distance on your femur. But keep it to where that is firmly there. You'll notice that if it's one that changes, then you have to remove that top plate like I did. But if it's one that's like this and you sit down in that machine at the gym, you won't have to remove that top bar. Your legs are always going to try to stay down, so there is no top bar. For adjustment, you're trying to pull this, and there will be adjustments on the ones at the gym until this is slightly back past the 90. You don't want it to be uncomfortable or anything when you're sitting there, but you want it to be just enough to where you get the full range of motion. So again, if I had this out here, well, I don't get as much out of that because my legs I could have pulled them back a little bit more. So all I'm doing is getting it back to where it's like, okay, that's where I still can move out, nothing to tension me. But usually they'll have grips right here. Mine's cheap, so I don't have the grips, but they'll have grips that you can grab a hold to, and then you just, and especially on the free weight ones, don't try to go super fast. If you go fast, it's easier, and again, you're using momentum to sling the weight, because you'll do like this, and you'll see people really getting it up there. Well, you don't get as much out of that. If you go slower, you get every muscle group engaged as you go out that you want to. After doing that, you should feel right across here starting to burn, because that's what's pulling to extend your leg out. This is one of the main core workout things that you'll find for leg workouts. This is a home gym thing, so it's got a lot of different stuff. But at the gym, if you ignore this stuff, they have a leg press just like this with the weight plates, and they also have another one where you're laying at a 45-degree angle and the plates go on the sides. I know that they have that at Hometown. This one and that one is good for a lot of different workouts. You can literally do with just a few of those lunges and squats and things, and this, you can do the entire workout with just that. You can try to get that plate down to where it's almost uncomfortable and press. And then there's nothing to this one other than pressing it out. Always pick a really light weight to get familiar with it, but that is literally the idea. Now, there's a few different ways of doing that to get proper positioning. You can slide your feet up higher, and that will engage different muscle groups as you're doing it. They even have positions on those other ones a lot of times with a slightly bigger plate at the gym, so you can put your feet way up there or way down here. You're engaging a lot of the same muscles as if you were doing a deadlift. You just aren't going to hurt your back like you will on a deadlift. Something that you can also do with these is put your toes on them, your heels off. In fact, you may wind up, to get the press out and get a heavy enough weight, I should have showed you this. If you put it on a heavier weight, get an actual press out of it, and then slide your feet down. I hope that this is in there, I can't really see. And then you can do more of the calf stuff again, where you can use this as a calf raise machine as well. That's how you use leg press for a few different workouts. You want to come back to it and throw another variation, you put an extremely light weight on there, whether it be the free weights. I would do this one on the machine one, and just use a single leg. There's nothing wrong with that. You put your leg a little more centered, and then you'll be doing a single leg. I have to watch mine because it's a cheap home gym and I might slam the weights. But single leg is a good way to make sure that you're working both legs, whereas one of your legs might be stronger than the other one. And when you're doing two legs, the strong one tends to stay strong. Just got done showing you the leg press, but I wanted to show you one thing about it that I forgot, and it's a very key, important feature. Whenever guys do this and you don't bend your legs an awful lot, you can lift a whole lot more weight if you put that seat rest back or this farther forward because you're barely squatting it out. But what I wanted to show you was when you press, You have to avoid doing what they call locking out your knees. Now that's fully extended right now. So I wanted to show you my leg that is out. Now I have the potential for doing this. Now the plate doesn't move down there, but when you do this, that makes it just a little easier to hold, not much, but a little easier to hold, and people will tend to do that if they're not familiar with it. You don't want to lock your knees out. This is where you finish. So if it's like this, and you do this, you're done. Like that is as far as you go out. You'll have the tendency, especially if you're going fast, to try to press it out and then go like this. You don't want to lock your knee like that. If you lock your knee and there's a lot of weight, it can hyperextend this and you are hurting. Like I said, it's very important to just do it properly, because fight that urge of trying to lock your knees. You're done when you get to this point. I felt like that was important enough to show you. So again, my knee is just slightly bent. I'm trying to show you an angle, but that is done. It's not like this. That's locking your knee out. This is when that movement is done, not this. And like I said, you don't get anything more out of it by locking your knee. That plate doesn't move. You're just keeping your legs from being fully locked out. When you're in between workouts with leg day, it's very common to walk around, keep your legs extremely bent, do stuff like this. You'll also see people like just walk around the gym and fling your legs out. That gets everything. It gets blood flowing to the right areas to try to recoup you fast enough so you can go back. That's a very normal thing. Walk around, stretch out. I'll show you the last. This doesn't seem hard, and depending on your leg fitness and your whole cardio, it's hard, I promise you. I'm in a new group that gives you little goals to try to achieve, and this is one of the ones that I'm trying to work up to, so I do it on my leg days, and it's just doing that same squat we were doing before, where you get yourself a good position, you put your arms out, but it is the jump squat. So you have to jump squat each time. So, like that. You know, when it goes super fast, you're trying to keep it fairly stationary, but it's literally that and jumping. That engages calves, and it engages from calf because of the push up at the end, but it gets your thighs burning, and it's an overall cardio. Now, this isn't going to necessarily grow muscle, so I'm not encouraging that on making you grow a lot of muscle. It's a good one to just throw in for overall cardio, because it's good to keep everything moving. Use it as you see fit. If you want to do this on your days when you don't have time to go to the gym, you can still do that. And like, I'm trying to work my way up to 100 without stopping, constant, which will take 6 or 7 minutes to probably accomplish. I don't actually know. Right now, I'm just building my way up. I was a couple weeks ago at 40, and then I did 53 last week, and I'll see where I'm going to go. I keep posting them in a different workout group that it's a good one for you to do. Again, still the same as what I was telling you before, keeping your hands pulled up here so that your head and chest are back. An important thing on this, and I am still learning on that, is to figure out a way that as you land, you're absorbing the shock and not making your knees absorb it overly hard. I do have some foam down here for a workout pad. If you're doing it on carpet or something, it'd be fine. But I wouldn't do it on strict concrete. And it's more about focusing on your landing. Because when you go up, you don't want to be like, and make your knees and your back take all that absorption. But it's a fun one to throw in there if you get around to it. I'll show you 2 workouts that help with range of motion and help with cardio This is not what you're necessarily asking for because you want to build muscle. So it's still good to throw these in. Um, don't go crazy on them. If you wind up working out legs twice a week, then throw some of this in because it really does help. But you're not, if you were really going for more range of motion or more of your heart strength or your cardio endurance, then you do this until failure. But all you need to do is just do a little bit of it. Put your leg completely on your side, take your other hand down for some stationary stability, and just lift. That bore you with doing the full set, but then you just roll over and do the exact same thing on the other side. Lay out with your arms stretched, this hand down for stability, and then last one that I do, and I actually throw these in not on leg day, but on my core day, which I'll be doing tomorrow, but you can do it on your leg day, is just flutter kicks. When you lay on your back, you take your palms like this, slide them under your butt. That helps to keep the bottom of your tailbone off of the ground. You look down at your feet and try to engage your core, get everything tight. And then you do this. You don't go till they touch, and you don't go overly high. You're literally trying to build up the core endurance whenever you're doing this. So you stare at your feet, and you move them like this. That's a good one. Like I said, if you throw it on a core day, that's fine. If you do it on leg day, and if you're not trying to do it like crazy, it's a good thing to just do it. Even if you just do 10 of them, it's a good thing for building up. No matter what, some cardio is important because in order to build muscle, you got to supply it with blood. Cardio helps to keep your blood supply going. That's what gives you the bigger veins. So the bigger veins supply your blood to the muscle after you've tore it and makes it grow faster. So I'm not pushing towards cardio, just saying doing a little bit of that, not until failure, but just doing it for range of motion and cardio is good.